Some of these kids are very misinformed about what hip-hop is. I guess they think to be hip-hop is to be very disrespectful to your parents and just talk a bunch of trash. Is that what you think not only hip-hop is that what you also think black culture is? Is black culture being as vulgar and foul-mouthed as possible and talking crazy?
Lil Tay be popping on YouTube right now.
Brandon, you need to be like more ignorant. You have to be like, ooh, Lil Tay out here.
Fuck you, Snoop Dogg, you a pussy man.
Your hard backhanded.
You probably like, hey, with your old ass. You look old ass.
Your hard back.
You look like a chihuahua with your old ass.
You've gotten a lot of attention on the internet since you were here. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No.
What's good about it?
I guess what's good for you is I made you just like how Oprah made you. You were nothing before I came on this show.
Ignorant, huh? Wow, I guess that's supposed to be what they think black people are all about, is sounding ignorant. Yeah, Lil Tay's brother said that. It's crazy. I mean, it seems like, I guess, to be a hip-hop artist, you cannot respect the older people that came before you, like that Cash Me Outside girl you just saw, or you will disrespect the icons that came before you, like that Woah Vicky girl did. And I'll tell you this, if she's ever seeing this, Snoop Dogg is cool, man. I mean, we're from the same city, and he has a lot of respect out here. And it's not good to diss a city or someone from a city, let alone people, period, that you do not know, whether you know them or not, but especially if you don't know them, because you don't know what kind of repercussions that could have on you. Yeah. A lot of these kids, they think that it's just a game. So it's like, okay, hip-hop is to be rude, obnoxious, and totally on some ignorant type stuff. When that's not the case, because hip-hop is a culture, as well as a movement, as well as a music. You can't get away from that, even if you don't participate in all of that. But it really, they're ruining hip-hop, man. Like, it's just, is this what you think hip-hop is? Is this what you think rap is? Just all about being ignorant and rude? And this Lil Tay kid, man, to think this kid was 5 years old 5 years ago, and her mom is making her into a novelty act. It's not good. It's like basically like mom's not even caring at this point about what she's doing to her own kid. That could have a really bad effect on her. I think Lovely T was saying the same thing. It's not a good thing. So for all of you guys that are in the hip-hop music, I'm so tired. And you're not black especially, why don't you try looking into the culture of that and promote something different? Because it's like you're basically saying, you can't be acting civilized if you're black. I have a problem with that. And you kids have a lot to learn. Don't be surprised if somebody starts checking you for what you're doing, if they haven't already. And specifically G-checking. You can't just play around with this. Whoa, Vicky. It's nothing to play with. Peace to you guys. Yes, I have to say this too. The thing is, for rappers, or I don't even want to call them rappers at this point, like this, it's almost like they have to pick the worst stereotype and then try to characterize it. And it comes back negative on a lot of black people, because it's just like, okay, you you have people like this whose parents will accuse black people for that, or they'll try to make fun or or make money off of it, like that Little Tay person, and follow the same stereotypical characters that demonize black people, let alone hip hop. Because if a black kid was doing this, they would be basically run through the mud, period. Now, I'm going to be honest. I came up in Long Beach where I've had, believe it or not, I've had people that I've known that were Asian or even white grow up in the hood, and they're around like a lot of brothers, and we kind of are all around each other. So there is that element and influence, but and also I've known some of these guys get involved in hip hop. Now, some people might call it culture vulturing. Not necessarily, I could say with some of the people that I know, because they really respect the art form, and they don't like a lot of the things that are happening with the stereotypical hip hop type stuff. And I mean, even there are some like guys that are even in gangs, especially on the Asian side of it, that some of them happen to be in the gangs, not all of them. And that's kind of just how they grew up, and they grew up around the neighborhood and all that stuff. And I mean, that's debatable within itself, but also some of these guys have been, I mean, it's kind of what they know in a lot of ways because they grew up around that, and just kind of like, I think there's a difference when some people are having a caricature of black people versus them growing up around black people in a sense. That's an interesting, come to think of it, that's a very interesting debate. Because, like, I come from an area like that where people have grown up around that stuff, and you get the conscious type or you get the street type as well, or both mixed in, at least from where I'm coming from, which is, to me, man, it's kind of a trip because, you got, what's that dude, Sleepy? I forgot his name. I mean, there's a bunch of rappers from Long Beach that are like Asian and even white that they dig hip hop, and a few might even happen to be in gangs, mostly on the Asian side. But like, I think they have a respect for the art versus, the Woah Vickies and like, the Little Tays. I mean, they're not trying to really put on a caricature in that sense, that's something to really debate about, because there are kids that I've known that have grown up around, different kinds of people within neighborhoods, but these kids, Whoa Vicky, that Cash Me Outside girl, whatever her name is, and freaking Lil Tay, it just seems like they're basically putting on blackface, We don't want that. Like if you're gonna be into hip hop, respect the art form of it. Learn your bars and be sharp about it. Instead of trying to follow a trend and be how rude and bad that you could be. And then later on you grow up and you start just basically kind of blaming black people for being bad and all that, and making you the bad person that you are when you've made money off of it. Yeah, not a good look for you at all. Again, signing out, I'm just going to say peace. Yeah, I don't like culture vultures. I don't like caricatures of my people, And hopefully these kids will learn earlier and not the hard way. Because the thing is, if a black kid was doing what they were doing, they would be drugged through the mud and talked about real bad. They wouldn't have people hooraying them. And Little Tay's mom should be ashamed of herself. As I said before, that kid, that's a kid. It's so weird. And I was like, wow, I knew she was young, but I didn't know she was 10 years old. I'm like, she's barely out of being a freaking toddler, you know? Like, and her mom has her being profane like this. You know? It's just ridiculous. Your parents are teaching you to do that, and they're cultivating it through your whole family. Your brother's coaching you to sound quote-unquote ignorant. Yeah, it's like black people are all ignorant, right? Are we? I wonder what you think about black people, especially if they grew up in the hood. Sound ignorant, right? You sound ignorant.